Hello, everybody. Well, another documentary has come out on Diddy, and I guess we got to talk about this one too. Less than 24 hours ago, literally just yesterday, 60 Minutes Australia put out a documentary about Diddy. Now, a lot of the allegations in this documentary are old and tired. We have heard this, we have seen this. They covered the thing in the hotel, the whole CNN exclusive, whatever footage and all that with Cassie and Diddy, where she was allegedly escaping from an FO. They covered some other allegations, but they also covered some new stuff. They interviewed some new people, and in particular, they interviewed one of Cassie's former makeup artists who finally, after she said 15 years, had the courage to come forward. But it was really something that this woman said. Her name was, I think, Mila Morales. I will put her name up here. But she said a couple things that echo things that we've been talking about over here on this channel. So I did want to play that and respond to it a little bit and expand on it a little bit. Now, I will leave the link to this down below. It's available on YouTube. It does seem to be only about 20 minutes long. I don't know if there was a longer segment that aired off of YouTube, but I'll leave the link below of where I got this clip from. Now, this makeup artist, Mila, she kind of talks in two different segments of the show. On one segment, she is talking about her actual experiences with Diddy. And in the other segment, she's kind of giving her opinion on how it ended up this way. We'll start with the first segment where she kind of just talks about her experiences. And it is about an instance where she did have an idea of what was going on with Diddy and Cassie during their relationship.
But some who witnessed the real Sean Combs claim it's long been an open secret.
I've kept this very quiet for 14 years. I mean, it's been a very long time. And once I saw the video, I just felt like...
So this is the makeup artist. She's saying that she has kept this quiet for 14 years. Now, my immediate response to that is, why? But she does get into it, and I'll leave it up to y'all whether or not you think it's a good reason.
I need to say something.
Cassie Ventura's friend and makeup artist, Mila Morales, says she saw Combs commit horrendous abuse, but was too scared to act. Seeing the security footage brought it all back and breaks her heart.
Like, it was so hard for me to watch. Cried for days because I just couldn't believe that that man was physically abusing her like that. That really upset me. And I just thought about the years of that. He's a monster. He's literally a monster.
Mila Morales knew Cassie at the peak of her innocence and the start of a promising career.
She was the sweetest girl. I always looked at her as like my little sister. And she was young, so sweet, and such a beautiful spirit.
But Mila says there was one incident in 2010.
Okay, so we're at the incident, and it's allegedly from 2010. So like I said, I'll leave it linked down below. This right now, what I'm doing is a commentary and opinion video. If you want to watch it without any commentary or without any interruption, you can go to about the 7-minute mark on the link in the description down below.
We were just coming from a photo shoot. We were in the hotel room. I fall asleep on the couch because we were just out all day. Wake up to him storming in the room and screaming, "Where is she?" They shut the door and everything just started happening. I saw the aftermath, the bruises, the busted lip, the knots on the head, and it was really bad.
So I will say this is a little bit of a discrepancy from what she said earlier. Earlier, she said when she saw this footage come out just a few weeks ago, that she was so surprised that he was beating her like that.
Cried for days because I just couldn't believe that man was physically abusing her like that.
But now she's telling us that all the way back 14 years ago in 2010, she did see some evidence like bruises and the busted lips and the knots on the head and stuff that Diddy did violently attack Cassie. So it's difficult for me to understand how she wouldn't believe that he could do that when she saw it literally herself. And that is one of the criticisms that I do have personally about a lot of these people, is that it's not enough for them to just tell the truth and say, I was scared. I was scared. I didn't say anything because I was scared. It's not enough for them to do that. They got to kind of contradict themselves. They got to kind of remove even more accountability from the fact that they did witness this and they did know that it was going on by acting like they didn't know it was going on. But as she clearly now admits, she did know it was going on. Let's hear that one more time.
Mila says there was one incident in 2010 that particularly haunts her.
We were just coming from a photo shoot. We were in the hotel room. I fall asleep on the couch because, we were just out all day. I wake up to him storming in the room and screaming, "Where is she?" They shut the door and everything just started happening. I saw the aftermath, bruises, the busted lip, the knots on the head, and it was really bad.
So she saw all this, but she was surprised he was beating her.
I just couldn't believe that man was physically her like that.
In 2016, that doesn't add up to me.
I don't know how any man could hurt another human being that way.
Mila says she called a doctor friend to patch the singer up. She and Cassie were too afraid to take her to hospital, let alone go to the police. You felt like you couldn't?
No, we couldn't.
So this is another piece of information that does kind of remind me of other issues going on in this case. Mila says she called a doctor friend. Okay, this is like someone making like a house call of sorts. But Cassie and the doctor were too afraid to bring Cassie to the hospital. And this part, what I'm about to do right now, is just speculation. But it made me think of Kim Porter. Why didn't they bring Kim Porter dying of pneumonia? Why didn't they bring her to the hospital? The doctor came and checked on her. They were giving her IV, vitamins, this, that, and the other. But nobody brought her to the hospital. And she died. She died. It's making me wonder, were other people too afraid to go to the hospital? If so, why? Let's listen further to this woman describe the 2010 Cassie incident.
You think we could have done that back then? No, absolutely not. That would not be safe for any of us.
That's terrifying to think, Mila, that you didn't feel safe actually going to an emergency room when your friend was really badly injured.
Yeah, I mean, we're not dealing with a normal person, and the person that actually did the abuse is somebody who's powerful. That's not something we can take lightly.
What is it about Diddy's circle that makes them...
Okay, so she doesn't really say what would happen. I mean, I can kind of fill in the blanks. I can try to figure it out. But she doesn't really say why she was afraid or what she was afraid of. But I can kind of fill in the blanks because I've been doing a lot of research on organized crime in general, which Diddy is presumed innocent until proven guilty. I'm not saying he's guilty. What I am saying is I have been looking into organized crime, and not any one specific organized crime ring. Like, I have been looking into the FBI files on Scientology, on Children of God, on Black Mafia family, on the Black Muslims as categorized by the FBI and CIA, not Black people who are Muslims. I think it's a bad name. I don't think it's a good name they gave them. They should have given them a different name, but that's the name. And one thing that I do notice about organized crime and organized crime syndicates is that they always have members of their unit in the local law enforcement, in the local police departments, and a lot of times in local politics. And so they really usually, a very successful organized crime ring will have people on the force. An example of this is the Tupac, the unclassified, declassified, unsealed Tupac FBI files. In those files, we are told that there were police officers who were doing the investigation who were members of the Bloods gang, the street gang. I'm certain there were probably also types that had infiltrated the police department, but I'm just talking about what I saw in these FBI files. So let's say somebody goes to the police to report something that, for example, in that case, a Blood, member had done, and you reporting it to somebody who's also in the Blood gang. Not only might nothing get done about your complaint, probably nothing's getting done about it, but you might suffer a very extreme consequence.
CBS execs were revealed to have conspired with an LAPD captain to conceal SA allegations against Moonves. If you guys don't remember, Les Moonves was in charge of CBS at the time. Even the LAPD was involved. Can you quickly sort of sum this up for us, Christopher? Why was this so upsetting to see?
There was a complaint made against Les Moonves, who was in charge of CBS, really bad conduct against a female. There was a report made to LAPD, but then it turned out that a commanding officer at the LAPD Hollywood station, who's now been identified as Corey Palka, had given a heads up to Les Moonves and CBS about this complaint. It's scary to other people who do you complain to? Who do you go to now if you have a complaint, if you can't trust the police?
And so organized crime does breed this paranoia because you do not know who works for who, who's actually loyal to whom, and who in law enforcement might have a conflict of interest with that organization. Not only sometimes are these people in the organization, but sometimes they're just accepting a lot of money. Some police department might get really used to getting that donation from, let's say, the Church of Scientology, for example, or something, you know? And next year, they might not want to piss off that church or that ring or whoever. Well, I'm just saying names. Everybody's innocent, presumed innocent until proven guilty. But, you know, cult X, you know, organized crime ring Y. Sometimes these organizations, these departments, these police departments, they like that money and they're not really trying to piss off the people giving them money. So they'll kind of turn the other way. So I don't really know what Marla means whenever she says they couldn't tell anybody. But if I had to piece it together, it may be something like that. Now, what she's about to say, I found just as interesting because it does coincide with a lot of the historical research that I've been doing. And it has to do with ancient Greece, ancient Rome, all the way up through the 1700s, where you would have royalty, monarchs in charge. And if anybody that worked for them were to piss them off,
with their head, with his head. If I lose my temper, you lose your head. Someone's head will roll. Off with his head, off with the head, off with the head, off with the head, off with his head, off with his head.
they would have a very hard time.
That's terrifying to think, Marla, that you didn't feel safe actually going to an emergency room when your friend was really badly injured. What is it about Diddy's circle that makes them so loyal? So many people, as you say, would have ignored what was going on.
I mean, to be honest with you,
So he says, why? What makes these people so loyal? And she has a great answer. Listen what she says.
these are their jobs. It's not about being loyal. It's more so like this is your job. And I mean, it goes back to centuries when they're like people in positions of power. What are the servants going to do?
So this is a great point because a lot of times people, even me, will be like, why did these people do this though? How could you sit here and work for this monster? The answer is because it's their job. They know it very early on. Probably most of them know it when they take the job, but some of them, it might take a while, an incident or two to realize, yes, this is your job. It isn't part of the job. It isn't just an inconvenient byproduct of the job. No. It is your job. It is your job to protect the brand. It is your job to protect the man. It is your job to protect the business, the company, the money, the reputation. That's your job. You are very unimportant in it all. And so if you in any way don't do your job, not only are you not going to have a job, which of course has financial repercussions, like not going to be able to pay your bills, whatever. But also if you don't do your job, you might not ever get to do that job again. Now it really does beg the question, why would you want to? Why would you want to do that job for somebody else? If you know now the whole job is keeping the secrets of these debauched, messed up sociopath lunatics, why would you want that as your job? Why wouldn't you want to go and do a different job? But I'm not stupid. I understand that people have specific training and specific skill sets, and there are certain jobs that they are trained to do. And so, I see it both ways. I do see how it could happen. But I think it is a great point that Mila does draw our attention to. It's like, this isn't just part of it. This is their job. And this goes back centuries. For centuries, people have been doing this for powerful people and at the risk of their own health and safety.
The family, the weather.
Always the family. Always the family.
Being one of Combs' servants was even sought after. In 2008, at the height of his power,
and then they get into talking about the reality show that Diddy did called, well, one of them, he did a few, but one of them was called I Want to Work for Diddy.
Working for Diddy would just open up the entire world for me.
I want to see if I'm tough enough, if I'm strong enough.
How far I can really push myself if I really want something.
To live the dream, you have to work for it.
We got 5 minutes to figure it out. Now you're embarrassing me, though.
Okay.
I want this job. I need this job. Come on.
I Want to Work for Diddy premieres Monday, August 4th.
Now, I'd forgotten that this existed, but now I remember and I want to watch it. It's hard to find it. I'm going to have to look it up somewhere, find it somehow. If y'all have it, let me know how I can watch it. But
contestants competed on a television reality show to become...
So they're going to interview with one of the winners of that show. We're not going to watch that whole part of this clip together, but you can watch it in the link down below. But basically what this lady had said was that she should have known from the first moment that she walked into the first assignment. And this was on TV, right? This was on the show. Because Diddy was wearing his silk pajamas. And she said, like, even in that moment, it kind of made her realize that this guy likes the power dynamic difference. He likes that he gets to sit around in his pajamas, but we're having to report to him and work for him and stuff like that. And despite all of that, she still did win the show and she did work with him for 6 months. And basically, she just said that nobody ever told the man no. Nobody ever told the man no, and he was a tyrant, pretty much. And like I said, for 6 months, she worked for him. What else do I have here? They also interviewed a former federal agent who did say that she expects that this will be charged for the digital evidence, the surveillance videos. She seems to imply that the feds are going to rely heavily on that type of evidence, and she does say that that is probably, in her opinion, why all three or I think it was all three of Diddy's homes were searched simultaneously. But even that kind of brings up the issue of things being infiltrated, right? Like, how do we know that there's not one of Diddy's special friends on the Homeland Security Task Force that said, hey, dude, we're on our way, you know? Because don't forget, all this stuff has come out on the FBI files, and Diddy is very, very closely linked to all of that stuff. I believe he is listed in these documents as well, but a lot of the names are redacted, including, Suge Knight, I believe, Diddy, I believe. But again, it is redacted, so I really have no way to know for sure. But it does bring up a lot of interesting questions on why it is that this was allowed to happen. And I think it brings up some answers on how it could have possibly been allowed to happen, which is the forces have been infiltrated for a very long time. I mean, they said all the way back in the early 1990s, when Tupac met his tragic end, demise, whatever you want to call it, that already at that time, the LAPD specifically had already been infiltrated by BLOOD members. And so this was, that was 30 years ago. So, that could possibly answer why it has been very difficult to get any investigations going. Now, I could make a whole entire video on that Tupac situation. I probably will. I'll make many videos on it because I do want to go through those files with y'all and show y'all what they say and things like that. But I just want you to keep in mind that Diddy was running in these circles. He was not running in the BLOOD circles quite as much. He seemed to be more associated with the CRIP circles. But I mean, I have theories on that too, girl. I mean, we'll get to that later. But anyway, I did want to just call to y'all's attention that there was another documentary, another news segment that's come out, about 20 minutes long, it seems. Maybe it is 60 minutes long and they only put the 20-minute segment on YouTube. So, y'all can go look for that. But I do appreciate the reporting. I appreciate that people are coming out and finally speaking, even though it took them quite a while to do so. And they seem to have some very convenient excuses as to why they did not do so. I mean, a lot of these people's reasonings, I think, do come down to selfishness. Like, they don't want to be blackballed from the industry. Like, they want to keep doing the famous people's makeup and stuff. And I mean, that's a whole nother issue that we are going to need to eventually talk about. That's beyond just, oh, I was scared for my life and safety. No, you were scared that you weren't going to get to rub shoulders with famous people no more. And that's not a good enough reason, in my opinion, to not expose this stuff. But people sign NDAs. People do get threatened with lawsuits. I kind of do see the both sides of it. That's just something for y'all to think about. That's all I really had for today on this video. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation, and neither is opinion commentary on a 60 Minutes clip. Love you, mean it, okay, bye.
Welcome into my world. You're playing my game. Thought that you could come up and they're fitting off of my knee. Talking out the side of your neck like you're insane. Cortisol levels to the roof. Inflame. Kids these days so shameless. Selling out real friends for a paycheck. Mama didn't teach them no home training. Wanna be me so bad, but they failing. Step to the plate though. I'll take a challenger. I ain't scared of no low life scavenger. I should warn you though, if you haven't heard, I ain't no Colleen ukulele ballager. Shots been fired. Wanna tell that? Say it to my face though. Now behind my back. Won't be long till you share it in the group chat. And when I call you up, you're gonna backtrack. And you should've kept my name out your mouth. That's ego, how it all turned out. When you try to use my name for clout, keep on going, give you something you can talk about.
I will be saying everything you tried to do to me.